Life is a script, and every story holds a lesson. Some paths are chosen, others are written for us. But what happens when a soul is lost in the script of life? But what happens when the story we're living doesn't match what we were meant to tell? Previously on Adanna's story, her past was written, but did she rewrite her future? Let's find out. She took the first steps toward healing, but she wasn't alone. Love was waiting. Ikechukwu was waiting. Adanna, frozen in place, eyes locked on Ikechukwu. "I've waited for you," he says, his voice steady, certain. Adanna exhales, overwhelmed. She never expected this, but somehow it felt right. Ikechukwu steps forward, offering his hand. "I've watched from a distance, hoping you'd find your way back. And now that you have, I won't let you walk alone again," he smiled, more confident, more certain than ever. Adanna's heart pounds. The walls she had built, the fears she held onto, began to crumble. She takes a step forward. Their eyes meet. And in that moment, she knew love had always been there, waiting for her to embrace it. This time, she wasn't running. She was home. Then, or was she? They meet for lunch, sitting across from each other. The conversation flows easily, without hesitation. Two hearts willing to try, willing to embrace whatever lies ahead. "Adanna, I see you. You don't have to do this alone," Ikechukwu said gently. "What if I hurt you? What if I can't be what you need?" she replied, fear lingering in her voice. "Then we take it one step at a time. No expectations. Just trust me, Adanna." Adanna exhaled, allowing herself to hope again. She had spent her life running, but maybe she had found someone who wouldn't let her run anymore. "Thank you for waiting," she smiled, her voice shimmering with something new, not just gratitude, but the quiet joy of being believed in. Ikechukwu smiles relief in his eyes. And as Adanna stood in front of the mirror that night, she whispered words she had never said before. "I am worthy of love. I am deserving." And this time, she believed it. Just when Adanna thought she was ready to embrace love, the past called. "Hello," a voice she hadn't heard in years. Once filled with authority, now uncertain. "Adanna, it's me, your father." She freezes. Her heart pounds. "Dad, I need to see you." His voice is softer now, almost pleading. Tears well up. After all these years, could he finally be reaching out? She rushes to her car. After so long, she was finally going to see him. That evening, they meet. The air between them is thick with unspoken words. "I made mistakes, Adanna. I pushed you away when you needed me most. You abandoned me, Dad. Do you know how long I waited? Adanna, I can't change the past, but I want to try." Forgiveness isn't easy, but maybe it was the key to her freedom. Adanna takes a deep breath. "I don't know if I can forgive you today, but I can try." Ikechukwu waited outside the restaurant, watching as Adanna walked out, wiping her tears. He was always there, even in the background. Waiting, watching. Months passed, and Adanna's life continued to transform. Her relationship with Ikechukwu grew stronger, built on trust and patience. And her father, he was trying. One step at a time. Life was not perfect. There were still moments of doubt, moments of fear. But there was one thing Adanna had learned. She was not defined by her past. She was not a prisoner of her mistakes. She was a woman becoming whole again. A few months later, Adanna brings Ikechukwu home to meet her parents. Her father observes with quiet hesitation, the weight of the past reflected in his gaze. Her mother's face is a mix of regret and hope, torn between what was lost and the possibility of a new beginning. "Dad, Mom, I know I've made mistakes. I know I shut you out, but I've been healing, and I'm ready to start again, with all of you." Her father exhales deeply, then nods. Her mother wipes away a tear before pulling her into a tight embrace. Adanna takes a deep breath, then finally says the words, "Mom, Dad, this is Ikechukwu." Her parents exchange a glance, and then her father speaks. "We just want you to be happy, Adanna. And if he's part of that happiness, then welcome, Ikechukwu." Adanna watches as her father extends a hand. A silent gesture. A bridge between past wounds and new beginnings. With quiet understanding, Ikechukwu grasps it firmly. No words are needed. Some moments speak for themselves. Adanna and Ikechukwu stood side by side, cheering each other on. Late nights filled with studying, deep conversations over coffee, and whispered prayers for the future. Every step forward, they took together, lifting each other higher. They weren't just building a life, they were building a purpose. Partners in love and now, law partners. Believers in each other's dreams, they faced every victory and setback hand in hand, showing that love isn't just about feelings. It's about showing up for one another, again and again. Adanna and Ikechukwu stood before their law firm, their names proudly displayed on the glass door. Clients walked in, seeking justice, guidance, and hope. But for Adanna, the journey wasn't just about professional success, it was about giving back. She founded a foundation, her heart's work, mentoring teenage girls, guiding them so they wouldn't have to walk the path she once did. Adanna sat in a circle with young girls, speaking life into them. Their eyes shone with possibilities, hope blooming where once there had been only shadows. The pain that once defined her no longer had power. Love had won. Purpose had been found. And the life she had once run from was now the life she was meant to live. A few months down the line, on a day Adanna never thought would come, she stood, dressed in elegance, her eyes shining, not with fear, but with unwavering certainty. She walked down the aisle, each step taking her further from the past and closer to the future. And there he was. Ikechukwu stood at the altar, steadfast in his love, his patience, and his faith, waiting for her with a heart full of devotion. They exchanged vows and promises, each word woven with grace and understanding. No longer just to hearts healing, but to souls choosing to love, to grow, to build a life together. A kiss sealed their journey. What once felt impossible had now become their reality. The past lay behind them, and the future ahead was filled with endless possibilities. Adanna's story wasn't about perfect love. It was about a love that endured. A love that healed. A love that proved that no matter how far you run or how lost you feel, love will always find its way. This has been Adanna's story. A journey of healing, redemption, and love that stood the test. If Adanna's story has touched you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more inspiring original dramas like this. Every story holds a lesson. What's yours?